Okay, this is Brent from TradeGuild.blogspot.com, November 14th. This is part 2, and we're looking at CRIS. I have to say this is a position that's in my portfolio right now. And a couple days ago, we were looking at a pattern more like this. We were looking at a little symmetrical triangle. And we either got a breakout from that and it's pulled back, or if I draw this from close to close, we're looking at an ascending triangle. Charting can be subjective sometimes, and patterns change and formations change. In any case, it's a fairly bullish looking chart, and I think CRIS has more upside to go. But definitely I'd want a stop in at this point, and my stop at this point would be at that 50-day moving average right there in yellow around $1.50. I wouldn't really want to see it break down below the 22-day moving average, but as for my purposes, I think I would stick with the $1.50. So let's take a look at another one, and this is going to be NEOL, and this is Neopharm Inc. And this is another stock that we were in, I think back in October, maybe even in September, but I think it was October. Anyway, so it's had a nice move, and it looks like it's starting to shape up again, just like STEM was. And if we just take a quick look at an hourly chart, let me back this out a little bit. Actually, I'm going to give you a cleaner chart here without all the moving averages. And here we go. Here's an hourly chart. And it looks like what's going on here is that this stock has broken out above some resistance here. Let me draw in this trend line for you. Right about in this level. So we have what looks like kind of a little inverted head and shoulders top, or head and shoulders bottom, which typically would be seen as a base. These occur on intraday charts, on daily, weekly charts. And it looks like we got a little breakout here on a little bump in volume and a little pullback to that area. So I would say if you were interested in trading this, you might pick this stock up here at around 740, maybe all the way down to 725 or so. And then you could have a stop down here around 710 or $7, just to see if this is actually the beginning of the move. Otherwise, the chart still looks good if you want to hold out for a longer term position. So I'd just keep an eye on it. Next up is CAAS, and this is going to be a little series of these Chinese stocks, which have been just on fire the last day or two, actually yesterday. And even though they're all in different industry groups, being that they're all Chinese stocks, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with them, but they've all moved. But I just wanted to point out a couple curious little chart patterns, and I'm not sure that this is going to hold up, but this is a Harami reversal. You have this big up day here, right there, and then you have a doji or star that falls within the real body, and the real body means the actual body of the candle, not including these wicks down here. So when you see this, this is actually a star, fall in between the open and the close, then typically that's a reversal signal or reversal sign. But there's so much momentum in these stocks, I'm not sure if that's going to play out that way. The other ones in the group, in the Chinese stocks that are moving, here's China, CDC Corp, Class A, and this has got another reversal signal here. This is almost, it's 1 penny short of being a bearish engulfing pattern. Basically, the open up here and the close down here would engulf the real body of the previous day, and that's also a reversal sign. Just to reiterate what we were talking about gaps earlier, here's the rising window gap right here, from here to here, and typically support would be found at the bottom of that gap. So 680 or 685 or so would be that support in China. So a lot of momentum in these stocks recently, so maybe these candlestick patterns are not going to hold, but it's interesting to see all these reversals. Here's something, an inside day over here. This is not a Harami reversal because it's not a star or a doji. It's not got a narrow range between the open and the close, but nonetheless it's not a very nice looking thing on your chart if you're long that position. And one final one to look at is CHNR, another Chinese stock, natural resources, And the reason I kind of point these out is not because I think there's a trade in them, although you might be interested in them, but the reversal signals that are on all these charts. And this one is called a dark cloud cover. And basically what a dark cloud cover is you get a gap up. Actually, you have to have the first day is a strong day with a big real body like we're seeing here. And then you have a gap up in the morning and a close that penetrates into the real body of the previous day. So that's called a dark cloud cover. It's a reversal sign. Like I said, a lot of momentum. Maybe they reverse, maybe they don't. I think though it's interesting to see, and we should probably keep an eye on these and see what they do. It'd be an interesting lesson to see what a big momentum stock does with that kind of a reversal in effect. All right, so let's move along here, and this one falls in the category of, I believe, reversals. Okay, this is CBMX. This looks like a reversal. This was brought on the tag board by Chalobes, and he's been a good friend to all of us. So anyway, it looks like maybe we're getting a little reversal here. It found some support down in this area, didn't make a lower low. It's now jumped up on pretty good volume. It's hitting that 50-day moving average, and if we look closely, you'll actually see a long wick on it. So this means higher prices up here were rejected, and it's not necessarily a bearish thing. It just means the stock is getting going. There's some resistance there. Maybe it pulls back. First support is going to be at that gap, that rising gap. You have another gap over here that might support, and then ultimately you have support down here. So taking a position at 91 cents with your ultimate support down here is not a very good risk to reward. Highly speculative stock, but it's worth keeping an eye on. And let's move along to MVIS. Okay, and this was a pick on the tag board from Gabe. I think he's one of our newer readers. So basically what we have here is diversified electronics. We've had a big move already, and we got a pullback over here to the 200-day moving average, also coinciding with roughly the 22-day moving average, and it's up 7.35% today. Pretty interesting stock. It's worth keeping an eye on if you want to maybe diversify your portfolio. I know a lot of us are still wrapped up in biotechs, and we're getting into oil and gold, but MVIS looks kind of interesting here, and it's got a really nice profile there with BOP down here, bright green buying. TSV is very productive, and of course money stream looks exactly the way it should for a nice healthy stock. So MVIS looks kind of interesting, and I think this is going to be our last one for this video. And don't forget, I'm going to come back and deal with the situation of what happened with SLXA. So WFII, this I've had on the blog the last week or so, and it looks kind of interesting here. I like to see these bottoms put in, and we have a higher low there, and we have a higher high over here, another higher low, and it's actually in a little uptrend here. So it's pulled back, as you can see, on diminishing volume, and I think if we take a look at our indicators over here, money stream doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great. We have some buying going on here in BOP, and TSV looks pretty darn good. And on the pullback, it's held above that zero line, so that's a good thing. And here's a longer view of TSV down here. This is 38, and you can see as we hit this base, actually this was already in progress in moving up, so there's already accumulation in effect there. So that's going to be it for this video. Go ahead and check out the next one. That's going to be SLXA. By the way, this is RNAI. This was Chalobes' pick, and what a gain over here the other day. I think it was 95%. Way to go, way to go. Okay, so we'll be back with SLXA.